So, I just wanted to talk about something that I've kind of observed in the coverage of this Biden administration Afghanistan withdrawal fiasco. Even on, the so-called conservative networks, Fox, even Newsmax, a lot of the time, even, these more right-wing talking heads like Sean Hannity and all these people, they keep framing the decisions made by the Biden administration as incompetent. I don't think that the Biden administration is incompetent at all. I think they're doing exactly what they mean to. Now, Biden is definitely incompetent, right? He is a senile old guy with advanced dementia and all this stuff. Like, Biden is not the one pulling the strings, making decisions. I think everyone knows that, both Democrat, Republican, whatever. Everyone sees that very plainly. Biden is not in control. That's why I say the Biden administration. Now, I know that the Biden administration is not incompetent, for one, simply by the fact that they were able to install him. The fact that they were able to do what they do, or do what they did in the whole election thing. And of course, this is YouTube. We can't talk about that a whole lot and talk about what really happened. But you know exactly what I mean. This was a it took a lot of planning and execution. Let's just say that. And at least so far that they're getting away with it. I don't think anything like that's really been pulled off in a U.S. election before. But anyway, the Biden administration is definitely not incompetent. So, rather than look at the Afghanistan situation and other situations through the lens of incompetence, I would encourage you to start looking at it through the lens of this is exactly what they intended to do. These disastrous consequences were not things that they didn't see coming. It's not that they were trying to do something else. No, they were just grossly incompetent, and they ended up like, who could have predicted that Afghanistan would get overrun by the Taliban and all this after you withdraw the troops? You know what I'm saying? And you withdraw the troops without evacuating, American citizens or whatever. Like, who could predict that now they're going to be basically hostages there? So look at what happened. Look at the way things are right now and assume this is exactly what they wanted, and then ask why, and I think you're a step closer to understanding what's going on in the world. So let's just kind of look at it, right? So they pulled the troops out of Afghanistan, basically giving Afghanistan to the Taliban. Along with giving the Taliban Afghanistan, he gave them how many billions of dollars worth of Apache helicopters and tanks and weapons and all kind of stuff? They just left them there. What do you think is going to happen? You think that the Taliban is going to send them back? No, they left those billions of dollars of equipment and helicopters and tanks and all this stuff as a gift to the Taliban. What else can that be? And they gave them who knows how many thousands of American hostages on a silver platter. And now they're going to use this, they're already using it, to push the whole narrative of, we've got to take in these Afghan so-called refugees, a certain percentage of which are unquestionably going to be Taliban fighters. So, they've given Afghanistan to the Taliban. They've given billions of dollars of military equipment, machinery, and weaponry to the Taliban. They've given them thousands of hostages, and now, potentially bringing thousands of Taliban fighters into the US and probably Europe at our own expense. Cui bono, right? Do you think all of that is by accident? Do you think all of that is the result of incompetence? Or do you think they're doing this on purpose? The people that pulled off like the biggest heist in US electoral history, let's just say, no, this is their plan. Now, there's some things I'm going to start digging into a little deeper, and once I have, I may put out a video on it, which will unquestionably be deleted anyway, which makes me question whether there's actually a point in going through the labor. But it seems to me, even though I don't have like anything like a detailed knowledge of it, but it seems to me like there's been a long history between the Taliban and, you know, especially the CIA, let's just say. And, you know, maybe some of that kind of goes back to arming and training them, you know, back during Soviet Union times and all that kind of stuff. So, and does that tie into anything to do with Russia? Now, I don't know, but it does seem to me that kind of the deep state and all that really, really doesn't like Russia. And I think that part of the reason for that is just that whatever else you might be able to say about Russia and Putin and all that, it does seem to me that they are nationalists, and I think that Putin is basically opposed to the globalist New World Order agenda. So I think they see him as an obstacle and a threat. So do they think that having control of Afghanistan, which is kind of on their border, do they think that gives them some kind of tactical advantage in maybe launching attacks or doing covert actions in Russia or something like that? I think that's very possible, but that is kind of speculation at this point. Of course, this is just a direction I'm thinking in. I need to start looking at like, you know, some facts and stuff like that a little bit more before I really say anything too bold there. But I think that probably has something to do with it. Because remember, and you know, I mean, we know that the CIA trained Bin Laden and, you know, armed Al-Qaeda and all that kind of stuff too. So it just seems to me now like they are basically arming the Taliban in much the same way, providing them with billions of dollars of U.S. equipment. Why? They have some kind of agenda, and I think probably, among other things, it probably has to do with Russia and maybe launching some kind of overt or covert operations against Russia because Putin is maybe seen as an enemy of their globalist New World Order agenda or whatever. That's just kind of what I think at this point. I think there's probably more to it too. I do think it also has a lot to do with creating a pretext to bring in, you know, millions more so-called refugees into Europe and the US. I think that's a major component as well. I mean, they can be trying to kill more than one bird with two stones or whatever. But that is just some of my preliminary thoughts. I haven't said anything for a while. I've just kind of been watching. And to be honest with you, for a little while, I kind of couldn't even stand watching. I just wanted to kind of take a break from even paying attention to what's going on in the world for a little while, just because it was so like depressing and overwhelming. I'm just gonna like drink and watch some old movies and stuff like that for a while, focus on just like working out and, you know. But I'm back. I'm starting to kind of look at what's going on and analyze things a little bit more. A lot of it I kind of keep to myself until I feel like I maybe have something to say. This is the, you know, beginnings of what I feel like maybe I have to say on the topic. So I'm going to test and see whether even this ends up getting deleted for some reason. I don't know why it would, but we all know how bad YouTube and all this stuff is, all the censorship. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thanks for, clicking on the video or whatever. Have a good day. Peace.